Greetings from chess.com. Today is the birthday of India's 16th Grandmaster, Kerala's first Grandmaster, GN Gopal. I'm going to take you through some of his games and also acquaint you with some of his accomplishments. So he started at the age of 10 and he learned his initial moves from his father, and then went on to become GM at the age of 18. So usually when you make the GM title, when you get the GM title, there are two prerequisites. One is you must have got 3 Grandmaster norms, and number 2, you must touch 2500. In case of GN Gopal, he made 6 Grandmaster norms and they all came in quick succession in 2007. So from 2423, he went on to 2520. So this is, I think, a very remarkable accomplishment, and then later he went on to represent India in many events. So I'm going to start listing his accomplishments from the national level to Asian and world. So you can see that he was very consistent with his performance at the national level, and that further opened doors for him to play in the Asian teams. So he officially qualified to play for India and also got medals for India in the Asians as well as the world events. And you can see that he has also played for India in the Olympiad, in the world teams. In the world teams, he also got a bronze medal, and he also got silver in Asian Team Championship in China and many other Asian events as well. He currently works for Bharat Petroleum, and when I told him about this episode, he was very happy and he shared some of his best games with us. There's also another interview that he has done for Chess Cult channel. I think you must definitely check it out. I learned a lot about him from there as well. He has explained about how to study a chess game, or how he studies a chess game, his thinking process, and what he thinks about a routine and things like that. I would definitely recommend that to you. And he's also started making videos on his own YouTube channel. He also has a website called gopalchess.com. If you just search Gopal Chess on YouTube, you will also get his YouTube channel. I'll also put a link in the description so that you can also follow him henceforth. And I think now we'll switch to the chess side of it. But before that, I just want to mention that I had this question to him about what are some of his best books, books that he liked generally. He mentioned that he likes all the classical writers, and he loves Shakespeare, writings of Shakespeare very much. And now over to the chess side of it. Here is his game against Nils Grandelius, and I'm going to the critical moment after this position, bishop b7, and here it's your turn. Take a moment to see what you would do as white. So when I looked at these combinations or these positions that Grandmaster GN Gopal sent to me, I had this feeling as if I was looking at positions in an informator, or let's say anthology of chess combinations, because the combinations are very tactical in nature, and it requires a lot of effort to come up with a pattern and then calculate it, but it's a good way of training your tactical skills. So in this position, after bishop b7, GN Gopal played knight takes f6 check, and after queen f6 he played knight e4. Important to note, of course, that gf6 is not possible because of knight e6 and queen g7 is following. So after queen f6 he played knight e4, and after queen h6 he played pawn to f6. Now he's giving up the pawn on d5 for a reason. You will know why. Number 1, after bishop to d5, the bishop is no longer keeping an eye on c8 square. Very important to note. I will tell you why. It will be evident to you very soon. He then plays knight d6, keeping an eye on f7 pawn and also attacking the rook on e8. And then after rook e6 comes a very subtle move. So when I looked at this move for the first time, I was not able to immediately understand the reason behind this. But then as I analyzed more variations, it became clear that it's a very powerful move in this position. So here, if you are thinking about knight takes f7, I'm sorry, that's not the best move. You might be wondering why, but knight f7, if king takes f7, then your combination is justified, because after fg7 you are threatening g8 queen, and if the king goes to g8 you have rook f8 checkmate. But after knight takes f7, black is not obliged to take the knight, so black can simply play queen g6 and offer an exchange of queen, thereby nullifying all the pressure. So then you have nothing better than to play queen g6 and g6 and maybe play fg7 or knight g5. This position is balanced and black is not in danger anymore. So it's queen g4 in this position. Instead of knight f7, white side is queen g4. The rook cannot move, he cannot take rook takes f6 for a simple reason, there is a mate here. And white is also keeping an eye on e6, so that if you play a move like, let's say, bishop a8, white has knight takes f7. And then if you take king takes f7, there is fg7. And here if you play queen g6, white will not take on a6 but play knight g5 first, attacking this rook, and then win the game. So if you play rook takes f6 here, there is queen c8, again backtrack weakness. So after queen g4, his opponent played queen g6. Again, take a moment to see what you would do as white. It is pertaining to the theme that I've already mentioned in the video today. What will you do as white? Okay, I'm going to reveal the move now. The move is rook c1. So if you go by CCTP, it's not a check, it's not a capture, but it is a threat. And when I say threat, you have to look at opponent's hanging pieces, like see if you can attack any hanging pieces of the opponent. But before that, see if you can threaten a checkmate. So that's the priority order when you're considering threats. See first if you can threaten a checkmate, then see if you can threaten opponent's pieces or then pawns. So after rook c1, black has got no defense, because let's say if he wants to provide a lift for his king and also attack the queen, it doesn't help because white has queen g6 and then f7 check. If you play king f8, there is rook c8 check and then f8 queen. This is winning for white. So in this position, after rook c1, Nils Grandelius played bishop into g2, and then GN Gopal just took queen g2, and here his opponent resigned. The next position that I have is a game between GN Gopal and David Howell. This is a game that has been extensively covered by GN Gopal on his YouTube channel, which I would suggest that you check out. The move that I like very much is in this position after a5. Take a moment to see what you would do as white. The move is spectacular in nature. If you again go by CCTP, it's not a check, it's not a capture, but it's a threat. So you attack opponent's pieces in a way that looks like a sacrifice, but it's a decoy. You're luring your opponent to a bad square. So the queen on h6 is overloaded because it has to take care of the knight, has to guard the g7 square because of this pawn on f6. So the move queen c1 is correct. Now in this position, if you play king h7, white can simply take queen takes h6 and take the knight. So after queen c1, black played queen takes c1. Now is your chance to find the checkmate in 4 moves, and it starts with rook takes f8, rook f7 check, and then here in this position, if the king goes to h6, there is knight g8 mate. So he has to go king h8, and then there is knight g6 followed by very cute rook g7 checkmate. Then the next game that I have is from the position GN Gopal versus Li Chao, and here is the position. What would you do as white? It is heavily winning for white, but it's very important to finish in a clean and technical manner, not give any counterplay to the opponent, which he does very well. Like, he doesn't give any counterplay and finishes off the game at once with knight e7, threatening rook g8 mate. And after knight takes f6, the point is that white has knight g6 check followed by the discovered check with knight takes e5. And now if you play king h8, it's mate in 1. And now if you play knight g4, white will first collect the rook and then collect the knight, and it's winning. Then the last position that I have is his game against Nihal Sarin. So Nihal Sarin is the next Grandmaster. So here we have a clash between two Grandmasters from Kerala. So he went for the French defense in this game, and I'm coming to a position after knight f6, rook f6. In this position, you see black has got a typical French structure, but white utilizes the fact that this square on e5 is weak, and he plays on both the sides. And ultimately, GN Gopal finishes off the game by opening the H line, which I find very instructive. So this is the first position in which he plays queen e3 and then plays f4, keeping further control on e5 square. And then I think the next moment comes after he plays e3, e5, and again this is a position. What would you do as white? I've already given a clue as to what the move could be. Yes, the move is h5. So I've often observed that in a position where you are better, it's important to attack on two sides or even use the principle of two weaknesses. So here after h5, white is able to open the h line and attack the black king. So after h5, his opponent Niranjan played queen c6 and then a4. I really like the fact that GN Gopal took his time to play a4, not hurrying up on the king side, but making sure that there is no counterplay for black on the queen side. And after rook d7, he played king f2 because the rook needs to go to h1, and then he goes rook h1 soon. And then this is a last moment which forced resignation. Take a moment to see what you would do as white. Of course, you know, the best part about winning positions is that there are different ways to win. But sometimes if you are in time trouble, it's best to finish off in a way that doesn't offer any chance to your opponent. So here he plays pawn to g4. The idea is very simple. If black takes, rook takes e5 in this position, then there is fe5 for threatening queen h7 mate for certain. And if rook takes f4, there is queen h6 check, followed by queen takes rook, and then it's a win. So those were some of the games that I had picked and some of the games that GN Gopal sent us. I was very happy to see all those games. I hope you liked these examples and the way I presented them. So let's wish GN Gopal a very happy birthday. From chess.com, we hope that you have a year filled with a lot of success and happiness. And dear chess folks, if you are here for the first time, do like the video if you think it deserves it, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll be back with another video soon. Until then, take care. Bye bye.